Closing down sale. Everything must go. These are the familiar signs of distress calling out from our high streets. But is there another way? My name's Jason, and I'm living in West London, and I'm out to see if I can get a decent day's worth of food, while avoiding the chain stores and heading to those adorable local businesses. Now, I'm going to be honest here. I spent most of my time wandering the aisles of chilled supermarkets, rather than attempting to shop locally. So if I'm not sure where to look to find the good stuff, please, bear with me. Now, as for my shopping list, I've decided to get myself a nice healthy diet of soup for lunch, and for dinner, the most healthier thing I know of, burgers. Well, specifically, I looked up a recipe to make burgers. But hey, the recipe looked fairly healthy, so let's give this a go. The ingredients I'm going to need are eggs, mustard, Worcester sauce, onion, garlic, salt, pepper, ground beef, potatoes, cider vinegar, sugar, celery, onion, eggs, rapeseed oil, porcini mushrooms, bouillon powder, 300 grams of chestnut mushrooms, thyme, carrots, parsley, bio yogurt, and walnut pieces. Also, for breakfast, I'm just going to have cereal because I can barely remember my own name in the morning and let alone have the ability to cook up a round of pancakes. So let's get started! Well, we found quite a few nice stores here, so let's go looking. I mean, this sort of looks like garlic, so that's good, right? Is this a bad time to mention I'm not a very good cook? Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find any cider vinegar, but plenty of regular vinegar. I decided to keep looking. There wasn't any rapeseed oil, but I already have some of that. Is that allowed? I'm not sure where the bottle in the house came from. I did get milk, so that's 50% of breakfast out of the way. On to the next store. For some reason, I'm having a real difficulty finding mustard in these places, but I did manage to pick up some mayonnaise, so that's something. Now, I'm going to be honest here, but I am uncertain as to what this product is, but it does have a burger on it, so that's promising, but it probably doesn't count as mustard. I also managed to find some onions and eggs. I managed to pick up the thyme. At this point, I was tempted to just buy some ready meals, but I managed to stay strong. I have salt, but I don't have pepper, so I'll buy some of that. I buy my products and depart. Now this is a very special moment. My first time in a butcher's. I'm actually very excited about this. These places are basically endangered. It's like I'm meeting a unicorn. I briefly ponder if there's some kind of butcher etiquette I need to abide by. Okay, can I have 1 pound of ground beef?
Yeah.
How much does that cost?
Anything? Anything else?
Yeah, just that, I think. I will treasure this moment forever. And surprisingly cheap. I have no idea what bouvillier is, but after a quick search, I discover it's some sort of fancy vegetable stock. As it turns out, the butcher only has meat stock, which I suppose I should have anticipated. At this store, I find cereal, finally completing the second half of my breakfast quest. And potatoes, which I probably bought too much of. And bio yogurt, I think. At this point, my bag was getting kind of heavy, so I decided to head back to dump my stuff, take a short break, and set out to cross off the last few things on my list. Finding local places in the high street would naturally be harder as there are still a lot of branches here that I'd need to avoid in order to complete my goal. But there was still a hopeful amount of local places to buy stuff. I mean, I personally hate fish, but if I didn't, this would be my #1 place to stop. Sadly, the newsagent didn't sell too many vegetables, but I did reward my hard work with a much needed crisp break. Luckily, shortly after, I found a store which had some vegetables. I was finally able to pick up the celery and the carrots. At this point in my journey, I decided that I've been at this for 2.5 hours, so I started to make some compromises. Fortunately, the only person who had to suffer the consequences of my cut corners cooking would be me. So rather than cider vinegar, I went with regular vinegar. I was unable to find Worcester sauce, so I went compromised with everyone's favourite, soy sauce. The mushrooms, however, required a substitute which would surely get me on some kind of cooking watch list. Canned mushrooms. At the end of it all, I managed to get every item on my list, besides one, and it really wasn't the one I was expecting. But it turns out the only item I couldn't get was sadly the mustard. Now we come to the fun part, the most enjoyable part of this entire quest, the cooking. I can't wait. Hey Violet, I went shopping. Can you cook? Wait! But let's talk seriously for a second here. And I'd like to preface this with these are my own personal thoughts, only backed up by my own limited encounters. When I went into this, I knew the concept of buying locally probably meant different thing here than it does in other places. I've lived in the city my whole life, and not even a particularly appealing part of the city. When you live in West London, a place which most notable feature is low-flying aircraft at all times, things are significantly more down market than they might be in, say, Brick Lane. Let's be honest here, it's at best boring and at worst kind of grotty, so the local businesses don't have the help of visiting tourists or rich hipsters to keep them afloat. So if you're looking for something particularly unique, you will probably have to go searching further afar. I think the thing my challenge taught me is the local stores around me are doing the best they can, but they still don't have a lot of options to work with. And the situation probably isn't helped by the local council doing their best to get rid of as many as possible. Do I think it's still worth it to try and buy locally when you live in an area where the produce might be more limited than the supermarkets? I say yes. Most of the shop owners I met seemed pretty nice, even if I did think some of them were worried I was planning on stealing something due to skulking around talking to myself. Going out and buying from a local place is a good exercise, and it's pretty cheap. Its negatives is it probably isn't sustainable when you have other time commitments or people living with you. So maybe not every day of the week, but still, the idea of living in a city, you having no choice but to buy from a supermarket, isn't all true, even if it does mean you might not get mustard.